Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first interview of this YouTube channel, Javi and Dance.
That's it.
Tell me a little bit more about yourselves.
You
No,
want to start,
you
Robert?
start us off.
I go. Hey, I'm Javi. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Spain, so you don't understand me very well. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to work on my pronunciation, on my accent. Just kidding. Yes, I'm a professional soccer player right now. This is my first year in Atlanta United, second team for the moment, and I think that's it.
I'm Daniel, Daniel Russo. I'm 22. I just turned 22 yesterday. I graduated from the University of Notre Dame this past fall, and then I signed for Atlanta United second team. You may also not understand my English, but not because I don't have an accent, because I just might not say any words right. But yeah, I think that's really it to start.
Awesome. And my name is Alfredo. I'll just be carrying out this interview and helping them out with this first video. So, how do you guys know each other?
You love that story, so you tell it, please.
I mean, to be honest, to start, we didn't know each other at the time, but we actually just played against each other in the national semifinal of Notre Dame versus Oregon State, and one of us got to play in it. The other one didn't. You want to tell them why you didn't get to play in it?
You keep going, and I will correct you.
Well, this guy, let's just say he's a bit of a cheater. Too many yellow cards, but he didn't know. His coach didn't know, so they ended up turning himself in and didn't get to play in the match against us just because they got suspended by the NCAA. So we got lucky that we didn't have to play against this guy because we still probably would have won. But no, it's always. But at the time, we didn't really know each other, but we definitely heard about him in the scout and stuff like that. So I knew his name, and then I found out he was getting drafted to Atlanta. And right after the draft, that's when I got signed by Atlanta. They called me and signed me. So I was just like looking for a roommate at the time because my agent had said that it's much cheaper to live with a roommate. Atlanta's a big city, so it's expensive. But if you find a roommate, things can be a lot cheaper. And I just DM'd a couple of guys.
So what was your final option?
You actually weren't my first option. You actually were not. I didn't. But to be fair, it's because I didn't honestly know. So I DM'd you after you were I think you were the last guy I DM'd, but the best guy.
Sure.
So I DM'd him just asking like, hey, what's his roommate plans? What's he doing for his living situation? And it turned out that he was getting his housing paid for by the club, but he needed a roommate, and I was kind of on a similar situation. So the club had offered to pay for my housing as well, which worked out because originally I was looking for apartments by myself. And then it turned out that, that they could pay for my housing here, and we ended up getting to live with each other. But, I'd say within 3 days, he's probably going to say, oh, no, to make a joke. But I'd say probably within 3 days of knowing each other, I think we clicked. We became best friends. We have a lot of similar motives, a lot of similar jokes, so we clicked really fast. And honestly, we've been here for 3 months, and it feels like we've known each other our whole lives. So it's been great so far.
No jokes today. I agree.
Yeah, thanks. Nice.
That's awesome. So you would agree with what he's saying? Do you want to add anything to the story?
No, just to clarify the thing about the NCAA, we didn't cheat. We just didn't know it was a misunderstanding. I couldn't play the Final Four. We will talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that was the first time we saw each other without knowing. That was That was it.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah, one from the bench, the other one from the field.
Yeah, exactly.
One winner, one loser.
Yeah.
We both were losers in the end, so it didn't really matter.
That's fair. So I would like to know then your first impression of each other, because obviously that's the first time you guys saw each other, but you didn't know you were going to be friends. Mm-hmm. What happened when you actually knew you were going to be friends and you met each other? I'm guessing here in person the first time, right? In Atlanta.
Yes, that was definitely the first time we met.
My first impression of you was in the tournament. You remember when you scored a PK and you celebrated like that? Yeah. We talk about that in our locker room. We said like, look, this guy, like that looked like very cocky or very, he just scored a PK and he's like, oh, I'm the hero. No,
that's fair.
No, so I actually thought a little bit like, oh, maybe, he's not very humble, and I was completely wrong, as it usually happens when you judge other people. He's been an amazing guy. As he said, we connected since the first day, and that's why we're here doing this today.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you start a YouTube channel with after knowing them for 2 months,
Couple months, yeah.
So, but my first impression was same thing. I was like, not that he was cocky, just didn't know if I was going to be able to understand him. Because I knew he was from Spain, he had the accent, didn't know if I was going to be able to understand him. I knew he tucked his shirt in, so that's always a little bit of a, this guy's going to be a little bit of a weirdo, huh?
Yeah.
But no, same thing as he said, we started off, didn't know each other, but very shortly we became best friends. So
no much fan.
but it worked out. It worked out for the better for sure.
Awesome. So let's dive deeper into you guys' past then, and how you guys ended up here. Let's start with you, Javi, since you're the older guy. This shows some respect for the other people here.
Yeah, that's fair. Others.
Tell us more about, obviously, your background in Spain, how you ended up playing for Oregon State, I believe, right? This one here.
Let's go, Beeps.
And how you ended up getting drafted by Atlanta United, how you mentioned making history with Oregon State as the captain in your last year, in your fifth year as well. After that fourth year, that was a little bit challenging. And just tell us about it.
Yeah, as I said before, I was born and raised in Spain until I was 19 years old that I came here to America, thanks to a scholarship, because of course my dream was to be a professional soccer player, as every kid in Spain, but I knew it was difficult. And I also wanted to be able to study and play soccer at the same time. And as you know, you're from Spain too. In Spain, that's not possible. That's why we will talk about that too. But you did the same thing as me. We both came here just to try different things to be able to, of course, try to catch that dream of being a professional soccer player, but at the same time, being able to continue with our studies and our education, learning a new language and other stuff. So, well, I play in Deportivo de La Coruña. It's an academy in Spain, one of the best ones in Spain.
Sure.
Let's go Deport. For my whole life, for 9 years, until the last under 19, where there is two ways: or you make it pro, or you just basically try to find your way in third division, fourth division, fifth division in Spain. So I couldn't make it pro in Spain. They didn't offer me a professional contract. So I just said, okay, I think this is the best opportunity for me to try new things, new adventures, and that's why I try to look for places in the US to come and play soccer. And actually, Oregon State was the first one that reached out to me. And I'm usually a person that, if you trust me, I'm gonna trust you too, and I'm gonna go with you also 100%. So I was very grateful that they trusted me since the first place. And I look at the roster; they also had a few Spaniards in there that helped a lot. So in 2019, I moved to Oregon State. I spent there 5 years until last year that I got drafted after a very successful season in Oregon State. I think we made history. We made it to the Final Four. We couldn't win.
Sorry.
Because of these guys.
Sorry.
But yeah, and after that, I think I got named All-American too, and that also helped a lot in terms of the draft and people looking at me and those things. So yeah, I made the draft, and I actually didn't know if I was going to get drafted until the last day. Probably same as
Usually
you
how it
said.
goes, yeah.
If you are not top 10, usually you
don't know.
kind of never know. But in the day of the draft, I just kind of knew. I talked to some people, and I knew it was coming. And it was actually a shock because you kind of don't expect it. That you want to think, okay, I'm not gonna get drafted. I'm not gonna get drafted because you don't want to have that
The false hope.
Yeah, the false hope. So I was trying to stay humble and say, okay, just maybe it's very difficult. I'm international, 24 years old, so that's very difficult too. So I say, okay, probably no, and that's fine. But that day came, and I got drafted with Atlanta United second round. I say, of course, let's do it. That's the dream. Let's chase the dream.
Awesome. We'll dive deeper into this story because I know there's a lot of interesting facts and little situations that you found on your way. But tell us about yours, Daniel.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a different story than most, just because of how I grew up, the teams I played for, to make it where I made it from some of the teams I played for. I think should give a lot of hope to a lot of kids, that aren't as fortunate to play for the big academies and stuff like that. Because I know, like he said, he played for an academy in Spain. Most kids that do go to big schools play for big academies in the U.S., and that really wasn't my case at all. And like Javi said, I've been wanting to play professional since I was 3-4 years old, since I could kick a ball. That's the only thing I could think about. And as your parents tell you, you don't really remember. You kind of have a knack for the game when you're young, and your parents are the ones who tell you that, 'cause, you don't really realize it. But so yeah, soccer was always my passion. I played actually baseball and soccer. I played baseball till I was 13. I quit at 13. Tough day. I had to make a decision between one of the two sports. I'd like to say I made the right decision, but who knows? I could be the next Otani. But no, I'm kidding.
You never know.
I made the right decision in choosing soccer, and I made all my best friends through soccer. My best friends from home, my best friends from school, my best friends here. So I've made a lot of friends through soccer. But yeah, I grew up playing for a team called Jackson Cosmos. Shout out to Andy Weinstein, my best friend's dad, who he takes credit for where I am now. But no, he's been great to me. But he was my first ever coach. We played there for a couple of years, just a regular local club team. Did a couple of years there. At my younger age, I was very frustrated with a lot of the kids I was playing around, not because, they weren't good people, just because at a certain level, you start to realize that maybe you're better than that level, and you get a little frustrated sometimes with the kids you're around. And I'm sure a lot of people are like that, where they don't feel like they're in the environment they want to be in. So what I did was I took another step, went to another club team, but a better club team, full of great players, but still wasn't that academy level. That's where most people expect to get recruited. And where I was from, there was the Red Bull Academy, which was probably an hour. I was kind of in the middle of New Jersey, so Union was about an hour away from me south, and Red Bull was an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me north. So
Are you from New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm from. Oh, you think that's? Yeah, I'm from the town of Six Flags. For everybody wondering, everybody loves to hear that. You're not the first person to say that. But yes, Jackson, New Jersey. So the academies were pretty far from me, and my parents both worked. So I couldn't drive at the time, and it was really tough for me to be able to play for those academies. So when I was like 14, I went down and played for Red Bull for a little bit, and I had the chance to go there, but I couldn't due to just circumstances. I was still in school too. I was going to high school. I played high school soccer. That's a
So
big.
you were in the academy and then you.
No, I didn't go. I had trials at the academy, and I trained with the academy for like a couple weeks, and they had wanted me to stay and play for them, but I couldn't because I just I didn't have the commute. I couldn't drive. My parents both worked. It was just a lot of time, and so I didn't end up doing that. But I played high school soccer, which most people don't end up playing high school soccer just because in America, I know you guys probably aren't familiar with how high school soccer works, but like you don't get recruited from high school soccer. It used to be a big thing, but not when I was in high school. Not now anymore. It's the academies, and high school soccer is like kind of like looked at as like a joke. It's looked at as something you go and you have fun with, and that's what it was. I had a lot of fun, and I played with my best friends through it. But 3 years of high school soccer, also playing with the Wall Cosmos. Played 5 years with them, just a regular club team, and we happened to actually go to this Disney tournament, ESPN Wide World of Sports in Florida. We went to this Disney tournament, but it's one of those tournaments that you have to pay for. It's not at this time. You don't get free cleats. You don't get free clothing. You don't get free play. You had to pay to play. That's how it was.
It's one of the biggest differences from college from Spain.
Exactly.
From soccer, because
it's a problem.
Spain is like everyone can play. It's here is just
exactly. It's a big problem in trying to find talent because there's clubs where you have to pay to play, and I was fortunate enough to be able to play, and I was in Disney for this tournament, and with no expectations. This was probably my junior year of high school, so that's about time when you start to look to get recruited in America. You look to go to college, and I remember actually before we went to the tournament, I knew that there was going to be some schools there. I had looked up. I told this to my college guys right when I left, like a story. Just I looked up top 10 best soccer schools in the country. So it's like, that would be cool. Like I'd want to go there for sure. What did I see? I saw Wake, Duke, Notre Dame,
Oregon
Clemson,
State.
Oregon State.
UCLA.
No, exactly. So all those great schools were up there. They were up there, and I just closed my laptop. I was like, yeah, there's no chance I'm ever going there. I just didn't. Not that I didn't think I had the skill to do it. I just I didn't think I was actually going to ever get seen in the environment I was in. And lucky enough, I went to Disney ESPN World of Sports, and we were playing a game. Probably had one of the best games of my life. I don't know what I did or what happened, but God's timing. The Notre Dame coach happened to be walking by the field. He wasn't even.
Watching Disney in the playing with the kids like
exactly. Yeah, I don't even think he was looking for like anything. He was just walking by the field, and he probably stopped for a couple minutes to look, and I must have been doing something right, and he just stayed and watched. And immediately after the game, he called my coach and they told me the news, and like everybody on my team was so shocked, like, whoa, like are you serious? Like, is this real? Because Notre Dame was a fantastic school and fantastic soccer program. So I was like, couldn't believe this was happening. You know, I had a lot of offers from other smaller D1 schools, and I thought that's where I was going to end up. But lucky enough, Notre Dame was the only ACC school, only probably top 30, top 50 school that reached out to me, and luckily all it took is one. You know, once Notre Dame reached out, I said that's where I'm going. You know, like I got, not that I didn't have anything better, but also Notre Dame is just Notre Dame. You know, it doesn't get a lot better than that academically and athletically. So for me, that was just so lucky. And I mean, obviously, I don't want to say luck because I definitely put in the work for it too. You know, I trained my whole life, but definitely got lucky. And my main message to a lot of people that are watching this, especially the kids, it's that, you know, if you're good enough, you'll make it. You know, you can make it from anywhere, and it doesn't just have to be. You don't have to be at the big academy. You know, you don't have to be, you know, seen by all these top coaches. Like, your time will come when you know, when it's ready, when God permits it. So all those kids just keep working hard. You know, it's possible from anywhere. You don't have to be at those big academies to get where you want to go. So yeah, that's my story, a little bit different.
Yeah, all the way up to 18 years old. And then what I've heard about Notre Dame is that it's a very particular school, right? You stay in the same dorm, at least with the same roommate for 4 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because I feel like even we've all experienced college and college soccer in very different environments, but I think Notre Dame is one that's very particular and cannot really be compared to any other. So tell us more about that.
No, I think Notre Dame does a really good job of, I'd say, creating friendships. And I think a good example of mine is literally like a week ago. I know I've been graduated for the past 3 months, but last weekend, my best friend and my roommate for 3 years at Notre Dame, he came and visited me after, you know, not seeing him. He took his spring break here, and it just goes to show that, you know, the friendships that you make. And he was not a soccer player, by the way. Like, that's like you were saying, the dorms are at Notre Dame. You have to get a random roommate. Doesn't matter who you are, if you're an athlete, whatever. Like, a random roommate. So you get somebody. You know, some people like the roommate, some don't. It all depends. You know, I mean, you could get super lucky like I did, and I've had friends with some pretty funny stories that didn't get as lucky as I did, but. His name is John Michael. JM. Jim Jr., whatever you want to call him. Juan Miguel. So we call him all sorts of names. But yeah, he's been the best. Like, 3 years, I stayed with him. Most people don't stay with the random roommate. They end up rooming with a soccer guy or another other sports room with their same sport.
I can't wait to switch.
Yeah, you don't like me that already? So they end up rooming with different people, but I got lucky that we stayed together. It was really nice to not have a soccer roommate, just because when things aren't going well in soccer, as you know, everybody who plays a sport knows that it doesn't always go well. You're not always happy with how things are going. You get frustrated very easily. So to be able to go back to somebody who doesn't know anything about soccer, and, you know, when he jokes around, he just, so who's that Messi guy? You heard about him? You know, that's about his knowledge of soccer. So it's been great. It honestly was great. And the experience, it's different. I'm sure a lot of people might say, oh, it's not as great. You know, I think having to stay in a dorm for 3 years with a guy that doesn't even play the same sport, and like they said, first impression, I thought he was going to be a weirdo, but no, he's the best person I could have asked for, best friend I could ask for. So got lucky with that.
Good influence academically as well, from what I've heard, right?
Yeah, very, very good influence.